The magic of a birthday. And I feel really, really thankful that you guys are my friends. That I have a tribe of people who I know exactly who they are, and I'm just in love with the fact that that group of people exists. And I like see you at times like this or just one-on-one, and I've connected with all of you one-on-one, and to know that like we have the connections and everyone can just come into a space and it just feels so free and loving and energizing, like all the best things, you know. It's like, wow, this is awesome. I don't feel that the day Lance was born is a day to give his ego anything to stand on, but it's definitely a day for him to reflect on who he's being, who he's been over the last year, and whether or not he's on track to becoming the next best version of himself. You know, is my personal development and growth, like, are these things where am I on track? Let's just put it that way. And am I doing what I'm here to do? That's what I feel like the true meaning of the birthday is about, you know, just a point of reflection. So thanks for letting me be a part of your lives. I want to share this with you. Paulo Coelho said, "Hold the hand of the child within you. For this child, nothing is impossible." I'm going to read it again. "Hold the hand of the child within you. For this child, nothing is impossible." And I retranslated Isaiah chapter 9, verses 6 and 7. And I'm going to share that with you and talk about a little more application about the promise of a child. Okay. To and within us, a child is being brought forth. Within you. To and within you, a child is being brought forth. One, get ready for this. One who will build and repair the family name. One who will build and repair the family name is appointed and ascribed. The power to set things in order will be his or her responsibility. His or her essence, character, fame, reputation, personal energy will be known as marvelously distinguished. Purpose-driven counselor, the valiant warrior and mighty hero. Endless, the original, the founder, the first and only one, the sovereign of fulfillment, rest, and harmony. This is the child that is being brought forth within you. Wow. The abundant multiplication, increasing in authority, increasing influence, and complete prosperity of mind, body, and estate knows no end for this child. On the throne of the beloved and his sovereign power over the kingdom, setting it up, establishing it, founding it, creating and forming it for success, supporting, sustaining, and strengthening it with sacred, balanced justice within and without, a firm foundation upon which things can rest, natural stability, and bringing balanced relation with the self and the cosmos for an unlimited amount of time, time without end, until the very edge of time and beyond. The genuine purpose and devotion of the self-existent great I am of all I ams, who are organized for warfare, will do this. Or organized, trained, and ready for the struggles of this three-dimensional existence will do this. This is the child that is in each and every one of us, that you are born with this amazing birthright and power to set things straight in this world. And when we come together and use our individual gifts and our stories and all this magic that is just who we are, right? How can you not look and listen to Mark and see his magic, you know? Like, wow.
Okay.
It's there, like the child is there, right? And notice the and the okay from him, right? We're trying to get back in touch with that child. We don't really see it. We don't know that the child is there. And so there's this disconnect between how I view myself and my true self. But he knows it when he plays his drum. It's there. He's in touch with it instantly, you know? His character like lights up and he can gather people on a street corner to dance and play music. That's the child, right? Awesome. He has boom, you know, that's the magic.
Kid, I think that every day. I'm like, man, I'm just a 41-year-old kid. You know, I can't stop.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, don't stop.
Oh,
because we need it. I'm saying that the world, the way of the world, the matrix upon matrix that we live in and are conditioned in is not telling us how amazing we are. It is not telling you how amazing you are. It is not telling you. It's not telling you how amazing you are. But you are. And Lance exists to help you get in touch with how amazing you are. That is what I'm here to do. So that those dreams that are deep within you can come to life. And the change that we know we want to see in the world, we're wondering why our political frame of things is so just not good. And we know things can be better. This is how we make it better. You have the power. You have the magic. And when we come together, we are unstoppable. And the world will shift. The world will change. When we get out of the political game, we turn off the TV and we stop listening to all the garbage and we just come together, that loses power very, very fast. So you may not believe in you as much as you could, but I definitely do because I see it in me. I know myself, which enables me to therefore know you.
That's awesome.
I love myself, and therefore I'm able to actually love you. I appreciate myself. I know that I'm not perfect, but I see how the snowball gets larger and larger, and so the growth and the development and the transformation speeds up, and suddenly life is just like with you the whole way, and opportunities and serendipitous meetings and things that we call blessings, right? They just begin to open up. The more you tap in, it just takes over. And you get these upgrades in consciousness. And before you know it, you're living your dream. And it's amazing to live your dream.
I think with that, the power of the ability to recognize what you want to go for. So recognition plays a huge part in that, because by knowing yourself, you can understand what you're about.
Yes. So Thursday nights, the dream team, we come together to not just talk about dream interpretation of the movies that play in our minds while we're sleeping, but our dreams, our aspirations. How do I pursue my dream and see it come to life? That's what Thursday night's dream team is about. And then Sunday evening, change makers. I want to help change the world, but I have to start with my own life. I can't help change the world if I'm not changing something in my world first, my own life, you know, or else I become some kind of, I will gently say, some kind of fanatic or religiously oriented, like, oh, the world needs to change and I know how to do it. I have the answer. And now my ego is just doing its thing, you know? It's like, no. The way to change. It never works. We've been trying that for thousands of years.
It's time to move on. It's time to say goodbye to all of that.
Right.
Like, it's everybody's waking up. They are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, that people are starting to talk about what I hear. The people I'm talking to is that they're on this trip where you're not waiting for some savior. You're not looking like nobody's gonna come and save us.
Right.
Like you got to go. This is time to go within. That's what this is.
This is
We
it.
are
Get pushed out of the nest. We let it get so bad,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what you get when you're lazy and you just let things get away. And now it's time to move in the other direction.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
I love that the pandemic has
Yeah.
given us all like this time and space to focus on like how we can build our utility as people.
Yeah, there you go. Useful.
Mm-hmm.
Be self-reliant, useful
I mean,
as much
even
as
if-
you can.
Even if you don't like contribute anything directly, you just learned how to build your own protein bars at home, which is something I'm working on. Not useful to literally anyone else, but you're building those skills.
Yeah.
I like how you said move in the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
That means that we've already been moving in a direction.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna switch.
That's how we got where we're at.
Yeah.
It took a lot of hundreds of years to get where we were, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to look within because
That's
we
right.
are to save ourselves. And by my going within and being the best me that I can be, I
Yeah.
am helping the world
Yes.
to grow and wake the way it needs
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
to. By being me.
How many religions said that same thing in different ways? You know, how many? All of them, don't they?
Yeah.
Go within. You know.
Yes.
Start
Some of
with
them.
you.
For
Fix
the most
yourself.
part.
The
Yeah.
ones that didn't get corrupted.
Right.
When you go beyond the corruption, the
Right.
basic truths are the same.
Yep.
You know, in order for the nations of the earth to have peace,
Yeah.
first the communities within those nations have to have peace.
Yep.
In order for those communities to have peace, the families in the communities have to have peace. And in order for the families to have peace, the individuals need peace.
There you go.
So it literally all starts with you. And so there's been kind of this aura that like what we do doesn't matter. Or, that the little things don't matter. But every moment matters.
Everything we do matters.
This right here, us gathering
Yeah.
together,
Everything.
is changing something. It's giving each of us this experience that is turning the wheels, that is growing us. Just this moment right now, every moment.
It's scribing onto your water in your
Yeah.
body. You know that?
Yep. Yep.
Can you say that again?
It's writing on. It's crystallizing in the water in your body. It's
Yeah.
It's in there.
That's what I thought.
That's
you said.
known.
That's pretty
That's
Yeah,
known.
that's a
They've
cool
done
thing.
that with microscopes. They're like this. You know,
Mm-hmm.
words have meaning, and
Well, there's a lot of hope for all of the best things to really take over. And it starts with me. That's why I know. Wow. The transformation this guy's been through over the years is... It's like, if you can sense that transformation in your life, then you just know that there's hope for everyone else.
Absolutely.
yeah. That when you said the great I am, that's what we all. That's something that we can't just conceptualize. We have to live it. And when
Yeah.
you live the great, then there's absolutely nothing to be afraid of because you're like, that's not how this world works. You didn't come into this world as sinner or bad. You came in to learn.
Yeah.
You know, and that's your.
Mm-hmm.
This is yours.
This
This is you. You're.
This is you.
This is you.
Mm-hmm.
Stand strong in it.
Yeah.
Nothing to be afraid of.
Fear is definitely an illusion.
Yeah.
And on this planet, our so-called leaders
Rulers.
really use it to their advantage. And I was talking with a friend earlier today. Josh, if you're listening, you are super cool. We were talking. He sat down. One of the first questions I asked was, "How long do you think it takes the general public to wake up and finally go, wait, enough is enough? Like we keep seeing the same game played here
over and
year after year, or one big hype after another. It's always the same game. When do people wake up and start to realize, every election is the end of
Right.
of something, It's like, nope, it's actually not the end of anything, but wow, the propaganda. It's like, well, I just want to say about that, life is responsive to our thoughts, specifically our beliefs. So if you believe that, then that is what you will get.
That's right.
If
Yes.
that's what you believe, then life will allow that to come to fruition.
Yep.
If nowhere else, it exists here in your mind, and that's the reality you begin to live. And so if this group of us really believes every amount of propaganda placed on the TV or on any screen, then we as a group will live out that reality, and we'll create it everywhere we go.
Yep.
Yada yada, right? But fear is not the thing that we really choose to have in our lives. That's not why we choose to have friends or any relationship with anything. We don't choose relationship because we are choosing to experience fear. That's not why we do it. We're choosing relationship because we want to know connection, and we want to know intimacy, and we want to know like the best parts of ourselves and just what it is to live and be happy and experience joy. Like, we're choosing things because we want the best things in life. We're not choosing because we want fear or any of the results of fear, like murder, division, hatred.
Right.
We're not really interested in those things. So why do we let the screens talk to us and convince us that those are the things we're really after? It's like,
Come on, pick a side. Join our club.
we've become so, well, let's just say our education worked well to condition us into just following and coloring inside the lines
Herd mentality.
with our, yes, and not thinking for yourself.
That's right.
That's it, I think.
Well, like you mentioned, the kids or the future generations or whatever. For me, it's really encouraging because my son is 16 and his friends are 16, and they're all talking about how they're going to change the world. And I'm just like blown away every time they talk because they're not talking about nonsense. They believe.
Yeah.
And because they believe that it's going to be true.
I'm glad you mentioned that again. The last time I heard you say that, I was thinking I wanted to meet your son and talk to him.
Oh.
Now I want to see if I can get his friends together for the podcast. And,
Really?
and just talk in a circle like this with them.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Just like just getting the future generation to talk about their ideas.
Interesting.
So I'll pick your brain about that
Okay.
later and see if we can
Sounds
make
really
something
cool.
happen.
I like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that enough people stop and listen to the youth. And there's so many of us adults who are trying to make the world whatever we want it, what we visualize as better, without thinking they're going to inherit this world.
That's right.
That's what I told
And
my
not just
son.
that they're going to inherit it, but they can make active change.
Yeah, they can have
They're a
that
powerful
power.
source.
Yeah.
Just like each of us are powerful
Yeah.
in instituting that change. But rather than allowing them that freedom and that power to do anything, our culture as a whole is like, no, you're seen and not heard, quiet down, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know this yet, you don't have enough experience, all of this
Which is
garbage.
So
Yeah.
When really,
opposite.
You don't experience
even-
life until you're 18.
Yeah,
Or
right.
even
Oh,
what we were talking about earlier, like we're talking about when I was 23, I was real dumb. But in actuality, I was full of ideas. I was doing things and enacting things in reality.
Yeah. And we don't always know how to chase after those things because we're not taught to do that.
Right.
Exactly.
We're not taught to continue thinking outside the box, and it's like
And that's his biggest complaint overall because, of course he's in school. He's like, this is completely pointless. We have ideas that we want to share, we want to go pursue, but they're not allowed to.
Right.
you know, and they're totally squashed and told to conform, and they're like, why are we even here? We are not living our lives right now.
That's coming to
That's
an end.
indoctrination.
It's
Yeah,
coming
it
to
is.
an end.
It
It's those
is.
days are over.
Okay.
The Iron Age is over.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
Yeah,
the end of
it's going to
that.
be a transition.
Have you guys heard of Mind Valley at all?
That sounds familiar.
I have.
The Mind Valley
You
Institute?
have?
Yeah, I know Mind Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say his name, but I've read his
Vishen
book.
Lakiani.
Yes.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
And, but he has this vision. He built this company, and it's exploding right now. But the whole purpose is to teach the world
Lay down.
and to share
Lay down.
ideas with each other. Not that he's the teacher, but that we all teach each other,
That's right.
and then we all learn from each other. But he's starting a thing that in the next 5 years, his plan is to have completely free, or maybe $500 a year university that surpasses Harvard and surpasses everything that they've ever
And it's
done.
entirely doable.
People like myself, you know, we go into a degree program and then you come out of it and you're like, well, I have this really awesome piece of paper and I have no job experience, and then every career, you know, that you're applying to requires that experience, and unless you have practical skills to use and apply to that, you can't
Oh, yeah.
you can't do the job.
That's so true.
So I like the idea of combining the theory of something plus the practical skills and giving that just seems more functionally useful longer
Great.
term for the next generation.
Definitely.
I think it is
Yeah.
my overpriced education. When I walked away with my degree, I knew the textbook perfect example of accounting, which does not exist. Went into the workforce and had to learn, and
Yeah.
still had to pay my student loan. So I'm actually looking at the next half of my life, what I want to do career-wise, because I just need to get away from this.
You and me both.
I'm just working a system and not really, it's not meaningful. I don't have a
You
higher
wanna
purpose.
Spend your time.
And so I'm sitting here like thinking about what do I want to do,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at college and going back to school and what would I do, and I looked at some options thinking, I'm limiting myself in the, well, that's a good way to make money, that's a good career, and I'm just like, but I wasn't born to just be a cog in a
That's right.
wheel. In the story of the child, you know, you in that retranslation of Isaiah, and I'm hearing this, it actually brought a tear to me, because I'm like, my inner child, what would just make my inner child just wake up every day and just be thrilled to go to work? And that's what I need to figure out, and then however to get educated in that.
And I'm in the same boat. I mean, my job dissolved, but I'm not really sure what I'm doing. I'm making personal progress. I'm figuring things out, but I'm not sure how to turn that into a living.
Yeah.
And so,
Can I say something that I hope is encouraging?
Oh yeah.
It's it's a simple truth. It's we weren't put on the planet to make a living.
right.
That's a part of the illusion and the lie and the conditioning that keeps us. Someone said cogwheel. Other people might say the
You
rat
might be
race.
afraid. You're like, oh man,
You
what
know,
will I do? You
what
know, I'm
will
good
I
now,
do?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what will I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And
That's all I do.
again,
Right.
we're talking about the great I am. Okay, so
Yes.
the great I am
Know thyself.
is before the beginning and will continue to exist after the end as we think of beginnings and ends. The great I am is not constrained or limited by the rules and matrix of this world.
Time,
And you
radio.
are this.
Yeah.
This is what you are. So you don't have to play by the rules. You exist outside of that. You exist outside of time and these boundaries. And okay, quantum science is saying everything is energy, right? There's no beginning or end to energy. This is the essence of the great I am. This endless energy, it's boundless, right? It pervades everything. We're swimming in it. So the system as we see it is just the confines within our mind. But you can escape the matrix and begin to think and use your energy in ways that precede and oversee work beyond the rules of this three-dimensional experience. So that's what this is, knowing the identity piece. Who am I?
Yes.
And this is how deep it goes, or how high it goes, however you want to think of it, how wide it goes. It's high and deep and extremely wide. It never stops. And so this is so the identity process, which most of us in the room have been in. If you don't know the identity process, that's what this podcast is about. That's what everything I'm doing is about. Get into the identity process. And the inner circle is like the next step. It's the, how do I do it? I know I'm to do something, but I don't know how to take the next steps. That's the inner circle. The inner circle is important because it's happening right here. It's the people coming together collectively, and they have their individual skills and very unique background. And there are things that you can do that I don't know how to do. And you can either point me in the right direction, or you can plant the right idea on the next part of a little education that I can get somewhere, like you mentioning Mind Valley, right? It's like we all have these little things to contribute, and that's how you're going to begin to get your next step. And now that snowball of where am I headed with my identity and further into my purpose begins.
Yeah.
You know how they say, like, I think it says in the Bible somewhere about, you know, the animals are taken care of. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen a bird?
Right.
Like, go look at a raven.
Consider
A
the
raven
lilies
knows
of
who
the
it is.
field.
Yeah.
It's not like confused about what to do every day. So
Right.
if we behave like that, then we're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Unless we have like a bad drug problem, we should be fine. Unless
Right.
you're doing something that'll
Maybe the-
take you to the
Right.
poorhouse.
The turkey vultures, and they're just like, I've been going in circles for hours. I don't know what I'm doing.
Wow.
During the day.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
I like circles.
Yeah. That is, yeah. So there's a passage that mentions that Matthew 6, and it mentions King Solomon, who was like the wisest and the richest man in history, arguably in history. And it's like, it says even Solomon, in all this wisdom and riches, wasn't as well dressed and put together as the flowers of the field. They don't sow or reap. Humans sow and reap by how we think and act and speak and treat one another. We're sowing and reaping in this way. But the flowers, the birds, they just do what they're here to do. They live out their identity and their purpose, and life brings them everything that they
That's so
need.
Amazingly simple.
Amazingly simple. So human. If you get in touch with who you are and what you're here to do, life, which is
It'll take
not
care of
separate from you, you're one with life. You're like in it. It's ready to work on your behalf, but it's your own thinking, which goes back to education, that keeps you from.
Yeah.
I get hung up on stuff. I'm like, damn, you know, I got enough work right now to make it. I'm doing okay, but I worry about stuff and all of that, and then I lose sight.
Yeah.
I gotta go, Mark. Just keep getting better at the drums every day. That's for me. That's my
Mark's thing is drumming.
So I gotta
That's
do it.
awesome.
But I'm like, if I do that, all my needs will be taken care of. Just do it. You know, try to do it good and do a good job and take it seriously and learn as much as you can, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I will. It's like I haven't starved yet. You know?
That's why I say, like, the universe is always taking care of me, has never not provided. I've always been covered, so why worry?
Why worry?
Caught
And in
up
that section of the Bible, that one comes to me a lot, especially now as I'm thinking about, like, where am I going to go with the next half of my life? Because I recognize my grandmother's 91 years old, so I've got another 40 plus years ahead of me. And I don't want to do bookkeeping for 40 years. But I made a list of like what I could do, and it was all logic based, like, you know, following the rules of the matrix, this is what I should do. And then I started praying about it, and it was like, that's not what you're supposed to do. That's what you did the first half of your life.
Right. And we don't want to repeat it in a
Press watch,
different.
repeat. And I was just resisting this truth as I was in prayer, and then this question came to me, like, why would you go out of your way to go get another career so that you could spend your time building your prison?
Yeah, there you go.
And at that point, I was like, oh, well, I remember that I had a list in one of my journals of what I would do if this is what I would do with my life if I don't have to worry about anything. And it's already written there. It was already in my journal. And I opened it up and I was like, how am I supposed to be taken care of? How am I supposed to take care of my son doing these things?
Right.
Consider the lilies of the field.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It really, it is this post-pandemic world has called upon, not just me, I'm sure many people, but my personal experience is that leaning into my faith in ways that I believed, but I've never been called to experience in such a depth. I do know that when I went back to that list that I had made,
Hell yeah.
just out of fun, like wish list, what I would do with my life, and I went back to it, and I just felt so like happy that same feeling that Mark talks about playing music. Like this would make my inner child just ecstatic, and I'm like, well then, I guess I'm spending the rest of my life making it happen.
There were a couple key words I wanted to bring up, and I'm not sure that I'll actually remember them. One, the sentence, "It's hard," or "Life is hard."
I was going to say it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Because I was going to bring it back up because, like, I said that. I said it's hard. And then I'm like, but is it hard? Or is that just because that's... Yeah, and I was going to ask
That's
you,
the thinking.
how do we get out of that?
It is not. Yes, if you say it's hard, then you're putting that into.
I immediately felt that.
You're giving energy to that. You're making it difficult by saying it's hard, and that's the education that you've received. The teacher's saying it's hard. Life is hard. You got to get an education. That's the conditioning. It's not hard. Okay, think about this.
Thank you.
You are alive. You are alive. You didn't have to do anything to be alive. It's not hard. Life is not hard.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite easy, actually. And remember, 400 trillion to 1 is the chance of you being you. So you're also miraculous.
I'm a winner.
The fact that you are here in this unique design that you have, complete, amazing, miraculous power. And you didn't have to do anything to deserve it, quote unquote. You're here.
Yeah.
It's not hard. Living your true self, letting your true self move forward and grow and just live and be what it is, what you are. It doesn't have to be hard. The only thing is you just have to accept yourself. And then you'll start carrying that everywhere you go. The thing is though, what are people going to think? They wanted me to be XYZ.
Yeah.
Or they told me, right? What I hope you'll grasp is that right now we may say we don't care what some people think, but as you grew up, you cared.
Absolutely.
And you're carrying some of that vibration to this day. Right. It's still here. And you've got to open that door and begin to unpack and deal with and throw some things out and then live. Because even it goes, if the mother's asking, how am I going to take care of myself and my son? There's a cultural pressure for her to do just that.
Yeah.
And she has to not care to some degree what anyone else thinks about the approach she's going to take to... And she... Ooh, this is tricky. She doesn't have to take care of herself and her son. They are alive. They are part of life. And they didn't do anything to get here in the first place. Life is already on your side to do this, and that is your most true self. So even the idea of what will I do to take care of myself is part of the illusion. It's part of the disconnect between the egoic self and the true self.
Wow.
It's very subtle how that serpent gets in there.
The greatest joy as much as you can until the
That's
tide overwhelms it and it can't help it. It's just...
Love is the thing. It's the most creative energy. It is the highest energy. When you operate in love, boom, boom. It just, like, it will open up. We do have one responsibility that we must see to. I say one, but it's multi-layered. It's get rid of your baggage. Get rid of the emotional things because you carry that around and you're carrying the energy with you. The thoughts are still in there. You just got to get that out so you can just the power of love, the energy of love, the creativity of love. It wants to shine more and more, but those layers have been put over it. So as we peel one back, more light is shining through. And we peel another, more light and more light and more light until we just get to the core, the essence of you. Yeah. And it's there. You're carrying it. You are carrying it. Ooh.
Yep.
You're carrying
Herbie
it.
Hancock's got a song called "Hang Up Your Hang-Ups."
Ooh, okay.
It's on Man Child. You know that song, huh? Damn, that's good. See?
Love that.
Damn, that's good.
That's good, Steve.
She knows. I mean,
I almost just said she knows.
That's great. I appreciate you, Mark. You've got this authenticity, and I love your
I'm trying,
personality.
yeah.
Like, it just,
I mean, hell, I've done all kinds of
I'm accused
different
of swearing
jobs.
too
And
much. Like,
you know, I worked at the gym. I'd have people like you come in, you know, and I get to know, and y'all have degrees and doing good and all this stuff, and I'm like, man, I'm just cleaning up a damn gym, right? But I've done all these different things, and I've been hung up on, you know, that whole fear, you know, like, what are you gonna do? And you don't have a career yet. It's like, shit, I'm all right. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. I'll be fine. You know, I just want to do what needs to be done. What do you do? Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
What's it? Sometimes it's cleaning shit. You know, whatever. Clean up your
Yeah.
stuff. Or,
And I can't tell you how many times that like I am so in my brain so often, and I have the luxury
I know.
of getting to be in my brain a lot at my job, and that's what makes me successful. But some of the honestly, one of the best parts was the fact that like sometimes I come into the gym and you'd be like, hey, how's it going? And my brain is like full introvert, like,
yeah.
hello. Like, just
Hello.
go in there. It's not that I'm not acknowledging her, but
I can see it on her. Yeah, I can see.
I think that happens
Like
still.
she's working hard. She's probably doing some.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
on something. It might just be like I really want popcorn, but I'm thinking about it, and that's my focus. But honestly, when I would see you, like it always made me think of the first time we met, and that was like one of the highlights of when I first moved to
that's
Alaska.
Yeah.
Was
Something.
meeting someone and actually having like a good conversation.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, when my
I asked where y'all were from, and
yeah,
you said your
because we
dad
would
would
just
like barbecue in the garage, right?
yeah, karaoke, barbecue, football,
Yeah.
beer. That's the Midwestern way if I have to sum it up. But I mean, yeah,
Yep.
plus just your energy and your attitude. They would, in a way, they'd be like, "Hey, this is get out, think. You know what's happening around me. I'm so immersed in it that I don't even notice that I'm in it." And you are a really positive part of my day. And
Cool.
same
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
man.
Derek. He'd be like, "Yeah, I love that guy."
Come up and they're like, and I don't know who they are for a second, and then they're like, "Oh, you did this," and I was like, "Oh, I guess I did." Shit. But I was against myself the whole time. I
Yep.
was like, "Mark, you're fucking,
Yep.
you're terrible.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Oh,
get drunk
critics.
tonight."
Yes.
You know?
Are you guys hearing that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Worst of
Mark's influence wherever he goes is just what you are experiencing of him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't see himself that way. He's learning
I've been
to.
struggling with that.
You know?
I got 88 days off the booze. That's good.
Oh.
Today is 88.
Congratulations.
So
Yeah.
he's talking about the layers, right? He's
Yeah.
peeling back
I'm
some
like,
layers.
I didn't want to have to go back and do that again, but I realized it's like, dude, you're 41. You gotta stop drinking, or you're gonna lose sight. You're not gonna get. Your life's not gonna be fulfilled. You're gonna go down. You're gonna get something and die.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So you gotta get out of that mindset.
Whatever our vices are, we have to see to them. We have to see to the vices and unlock them. If you know anything about vice grips, right? They clamp down, and then and they're really difficult to make. You know,
Yeah.
but you have to see to it. You have to get the vice off, and
That's what that means.
it takes a little. it takes a little work. It's not easy. You do have to do that because that's the conditioning, right? Conditioning is another way of saying habitual thinking. It's just a habit. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But habits can be broken. The brain is neuroplastic. It does change, and you can change it. So, like we're saying, or earlier I was saying something about the statement "life is hard" and just how we have to rethink that, which means we'll say it less and less.
Yeah.
We'll start catching ourselves. This is how the brain starts to
So me
shift.
saying that, like you guys probably do it too. You go around and you believe, well, life is hard, but if it's worth doing, it shouldn't be easy. Is that a wrong way to think?
Interesting.
Because
That's a
I
good.
think precious.
Or like
things-
anything worth having is worth fighting
Right.
for.
Right. Like I'm worth fighting for. It's not easy. You know,
Yeah.
it's not easy. The easy thing is just to go to the brown jug and
Yeah.
off to the moon. You know.
So you're like acknowledging the challenge in it.
Yeah, it's hard.
You're not necessarily giving the energy to, you're not just saying this is hard.
Hold on, man.
Being sober's hard. Whatever.
Everything is hard.
Everything is hard, but you're acknowledging the challenge, not just like
But could growth happen without a challenge? I mean, if I had to experience no
Indeed.
resistance and no
Yeah.
difficulty,
Right.
I would just spend my life just sitting around,
That's right.
not seeking to transcend the pain. So to be a better me, I would be perfectly happy just eating grapes all the time.
Yeah,
so
but
we need
like,
the
would you
difference.
actually be content? Like, it's almost like we're living from like this grand idea of, okay, once I do this, I'll be happy. Or once I
No,
have this job, or
the
once
happy
I
has
have-
to is an inside job now.
Yeah, it's
But
an
the
inside
challenge-
job. Yeah.
The challenge is always there. If I didn't experience challenge, I'd be perfectly happy sitting around gaming all the time and not trying to be a better me.
So there's got to be a difference between the challenge part and the defeatist hard part. Like, this is hard, I'm defeated.
Oh, yeah.
versus
Rather
I see
than
what you're
a
saying.
challenge where you're like, I
This
will
is hard, but it's-
meet
some
that
resiliency. Like
I've
being-
done that before too. Been like, oh, I don't want to do that, and I knew it was like, you're punking out. you're being pathetic. But I don't know. I want to. That's why I like boxing. I watch boxing, and I'm like, I want to,
Yeah.
fight it out.
'Cause
And
of
at
the
the end of it,
energy.
you're like, yeah, I did it. That almost killed me, but I did it.
So it's an overcoming,
Yeah.
maybe?
It's definitely an overcoming.
I need.
And can I
resistance
say
like that, I think
how the
vitriol.
the influences that keep us in the conditioning, they work well because we have an innate sense or an ability or even a need to face the challenge. Some part of us thrives with that. But when you mix it with entertainment, it gets very distorted. For example, we like to thrive in the fight, so we'll watch football.
All right.
You see what I mean? How the entertainment draws us
Also,
into the feeling
It's like,
of
here,
thriving in a
act out
fight,
that and
but
this.
it's not the real version of that, right?
So it's an illusion.
Yeah.
It's an
Again,
illusion of it.
You're somewhat.
But we feel like our team won, and I'm part of that.
I never
You know,
noticed.
it's human psyche. We are something else. We're special, in all the best ways.
That's an interesting
We're
phenomenon.
yeah.
Sports thing.
But it plays out in a card game too, just right here on the floor. If we played cards, that urge is there. And really it's ego. It's ego coming in, going, this is fight, or right? Like, this is fight. And you end up, it's a game of cards. And then that's what the ego loves to do, is play cards. But I'm going to read something again, okay? To and within you, a child is being brought forth. One who will build and repair the family name. That's capital T and F, the family. This child is appointed and ascribed. The power to set things in order will be his or her responsibility. His or her essence, character, fame, reputation, personal energy will be known as marvelously distinguished. Okay, think about your inner child, marvelously distinguished. Your inner child, purpose-driven counselor. Your inner child, the valiant warrior and mighty hero. endless, the original, the founder, the first and only one, the sovereign of fulfillment, rest, and harmony. All the things that every one of our hearts is really desiring, right? We want to be distinguished. We want to know our way. That's behind the idea of the purpose-driven counselor. We want to know that we are a strong warrior or valiant. We know how to go for the thing that we desire and accomplish. And what's another word for what the warrior does? The warrior succeeds. Let's just call it like there's a challenge, and I must overcome the challenge, right? Mighty hero. So everything you just talked about, the valiant warrior, that child is the thing that our outer world presents us the opportunity in these other forms to go for. We may feel like valiant warriors in relationships sometimes, like, oh, I won the man, or I won the woman, or that's my man, that's my woman. There's like this attitude of conquer or something, right? We see it play out in politics all the time. But how do we redirect that egoic nature into just the pure nature of love? Knowing that my first war, my first and most important battle starts right here, 18-inch journey. I have to conquer this. And then the world is my domain. Life is my territory and my kingdom if I can conquer this. My brain and my heart, they have to come together and be in sync. I can't be thinking one thing while my heart's telling me something else. This is ripping my world apart. But bringing my world to unity and to peace, fulfillment, rest, and harmony. The inner child is right here. Get these to connect, and
Then you're good.
yes.
We're co-creators, right?
Yes.
This runs this. the
Yes.
rest of it, so just let it, right?
It's like
Yeah, this is the autopilot.
The heart is the center.
Yeah.
The logic is where the burdens, the barriers, the limits.
Right.
Like, and because logic is back to our education, what we even think is logical, but the heart precedes that and knows intuitively. It already knows, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why the beliefs are so important, because everything flows from here.
From
And so if this is the autopilot, and like if you're in a plane and you're gonna go to Arizona, and that's where the autopilot is, it's gonna go directly there to the inch. That's where the autopilot will take you. And you decide, well, I want to go to Atlanta. So you turn the plane. The moment you take your eyes off that steering wheel, the autopilot's going to change it back. And so I think that's why a lot of the time we'll struggle with like, well, this is what I want to do. Why am I not doing it? Why do I feel incapable of doing it? And it's because in here is not lined up with here.
That was good.
Yeah.
The autopilot will take over every time, and we're in autopilot for most of the day.
So we have to reprogram the computer.
Your heart, deep core beliefs.
The
about
reprogramming.
yourself and about everything.
Been working on it.
Yeah.
And even in the old scriptures, instead of a plane, they talked about because everyone was a farmer, so they used the metaphor of planting seeds in your heart and then nurturing them.
And the soil
Yeah.
makes a difference.
Sometimes we'll get weeds, and we have to learn how to stop the growth of weeds so that the good stuff can grow.
Yeah.
Or the same way of saying reprogram. Yeah.
So that's the focus.
Firewall.
That's where it is. The battle isn't external. It's right here. This is where it all matters.
It is.
Yeah.
That's where
It's within. So, one more item to discuss about the battle within. When the itch arises, I'm going to call it an itch, and it's
good description.
right? An itch must be scratched. You should try this when you feel an itch, like I'm wearing a wool sweater.
Everywhere now, man.
You don't have to scratch an itch for it to go away.
It will go.
Yeah.
But the impulse, it's just the impulse that I must, right? Right?
All over the place.
I was thinking this earlier today. Self-awareness. It begins with How am I breathing and how's my posture? The beginning of self-awareness. These are little tricks of the trade that let you let you in. How's my breathing? How's my posture? Now you're not just existing in a space and on autopilot with the ego. Now you are centered and you're focusing. How am I breathing? How's my posture? And just something as simple as that will reframe the way you begin to think about yourself and others and the way you move about and do your thing. Let's pause for just a second. Hold on. So when the itch arises, in this case, let's go psychologically, emotionally about the itch, whatever the need is, the want. Go within. Stop looking without. Stop looking outside of yourself. Okay? Let's just get real. Okay? Alcohol, porn, sex, men, women. All of these things are based around connection, intimacy, ecstasy, and power. 4 things. Intimacy, connection, power. What was the other?
Ecstasy.
Ecstasy.
Intimacy, connection,
Power and
ecstasy,
ecstasy.
and power.
Those are the 4 giant parts of they're like just pillars of being human, being people. The itch is the itch is created by the illusion that we're separate, right? But remember, there's only one. There's only one consciousness in the room.
That's right.
In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 forms. 8. 8 forms. Even this. Amazing, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Consciousness and awareness at work in 8 forms. And if there's a plant in the room, that's a 9th form. Awareness, consciousness. The illusion of separation, because there's so much diversity, and the diversity is beautiful. If you are a person and you don't see diversity as beautiful, you're afraid of diversity, you need to take off the layers and get to the center of who you actually are, right? All the division and hatred is based on these false ideas
Right.
of separation and diversity. Oh, they're different.
Right.
You've got a major problem. And it's maddening. It's a maddening problem to think this way. So any level of division is maddening. You are not fully sane. That's a heavy statement,
That was
and we need to
really-
own it.
Yeah.
America, the world, we as people have to own how insane we are if we think there's something wrong with other people.
Right.
Plain and simple. It doesn't matter what their problem is. That's a key too. They might have a real alcohol problem. They may have a real porn problem, meaning they're struggling in this cycle of illusion. But so are you,
Yeah.
struggling in the cycle of, you're no different just because you're not better because your struggle's different.
Right.
Okay, let's be real honest. You all have a struggle, so you're no better. Whatever your itch is, the illusion, you can flip the switch and go within instead of looking outside for the thing. What's most real is right here, and the illusion's just a pacifier. You know it's a pacifier because it doesn't last and you have to go find it again and again and again and again. But what we're talking about, the truth of who you are, the child within, is everlasting. It's been with you since before the beginning, and like I said, will be you as you and with you after the end. It just is the thing. And the more we settle into it, the more we realize how amazing life is. It's just amazing.
It is.
It really is. And so Mark agreeing, saying it is,
It is amazing.
it's like the energy of, oh, it's hard is gone. It's not even in the space anymore, right? But you know there are groups maybe sitting somewhere in some other space in this city where that's the reality. It's
My
hard.
sister and her entire.
But in this group, the truth has been revealed.
Okay.
It's good.
It's
It's easy. I'm part of it. I'm one with it. We're all in on it together. So, what's the problem after all?
There is no problem.
Until we get home and then the itch begins and the old thinking
you
starts to come
forget.
back up and you forget. And that's okay. But you have the power to retrain the self-awareness. How am I breathing? How's my posture? And that takes on many dimensions, right? Especially my posture. That can mean not just my physical posture, but it means my mental posture. How am I breathing? How's my posture? Just two simple questions. The ego is far more submissive than you realize. It'll make suggestions that you scratch the itch, but all you have to do is speak to your ego in whatever way you would someone who wants to pull you down. How would you speak to someone who you know is trying to pull you down? You're not going to be like, oh, well, or are you? I don't know. Maybe someone in the circle is a real pushover like that. That could be a reality.
The old self, yeah.
Okay.
Not anymore.
You'd be like, you'll use some choice words, I think, You guys have any thoughts or questions or concerns